Welcome to reason number 5 on our series called 15 Reasons Why Job Hunting Feels So Hard and 45 Ways to Make It Fun Again. Does your work history have a few gaps? Maybe a few stalls in your growth trajectory? Maybe job hopping or some setbacks? If that is you, you are not alone, my friend, and you should never ever let that stop you from advancing your career. To give you a quick anecdote, I was fired twice in my career, and I ended up getting a promotion and a massive pay increase in my following job on both occasions. So there is a way to recover, there is a way to continue to compete, and there's a way to continue to grow even when you don't have a perfect career record. Because the reality is, no one does. Life gets in the way, organizations change, people change, priorities change, jobs change, all these things come into play. And so I'm always a little suspect on the person who has that perfect job. You know, the right level of time, the right level of promotions, no bumps in the road. It's like, get real. How much risk are you really taking with your career? But anyway, so I want you to know that if this is the reason that is keeping you where you are, that we are going to talk about how to get that off the table right now. So the first thing I want you to do to take this part of it, which is scary, right? We can think about, I've got all these things. How do I explain it? How do I make a positive out of it? All of those things. So let's talk about how to make this fun and the 3 things that you can do to really start to use this as a momentum builder for you so you can get moving into action. So the first thing you need to do is you need to absolutely own your past. Don't be afraid of it. Everyone has got gaps or setbacks or have been bouncing around, and it is so common, and we tend to think we're the only ones that it happens to, but it's not, especially now, right? But if your gaps go back a bit, or if you have stalled and you've not continued the momentum, or if you just think that you're job hopping for a bit, whatever you think your thing is that makes you less than perfect, it actually makes you human, and that's okay. So you want to own it, never lie, and just really get clear around what it is that you're worried about and what you think potential employers might be concerned about. And then once you know that, you want to, in your mind, be really clear what happened, why it happened, and most importantly, what you learned from it. Because when you can turn an imperfect situation into a growth opportunity for you, and a strength that your next employer can leverage from, that is a win for both of you. And I'll share a story from me about how that happened. So the first time that I got fired, I was in a role. I was a rock star 1 minute. My boss quit. A new person came in, and I didn't take the time to really get to understand this new leader. I just assumed I was a rock star. Everything was great. So whatever. Well, guess what? Not whatever. I was absolutely everything that this new manager did not want in a leader. And so I ended up getting bounced pretty much with no notice and inside of 2 months. It didn't take very long. And so for me, my learning lesson was that I can't just rest or ride on my success, that every time there's a new player on the field, whether it be a new leader, a new manager, a new whatever, that it really does require us to start from scratch and really go back and rebuild those relationships and familiarize yourself with what those definitions of success are, because the goalpost had moved on me and I never bothered to ask. And so that was how I talked about my failure in terms of getting fired and what I learned from it. And that was a lot in terms of being able to have that perspective, to be able to up my leadership game and to really use something that was terrible and scary and very, very upsetting into something that helped me parlay into a bigger job for more money, right? So that's just an example of how you can do that. And then the other thing that you need to do, if you've had these moments that are less than perfect, is to use those moments to get really clear in your head on what you want in your next role. Because chances are very good, if things did not go the way you wanted them to, that you were not at your best. And so it's definitely not in your best interest to repeat that. So get really clear on what was going on and why did things go so terribly wrong, and then make sure that you're able to look for those signs in your next opportunity. And if they're present, run, don't walk, wait for the next one. So it's really important to make sure you knew that. So even though I took the ownership of not knowing that the goalposts were moved in that job that I got fired in, the reality is the guy that came in was a total jerk. And he was just a jerk, and I'm not going to get into it, but I knew that this is never a human being I will ever want to work for again. And so that was one of my learning lessons, and that was the thing I kept an eye out for when I was looking for new opportunities, is how closely related is the leadership style to the one that just did not work out very well for me. So if you have an imperfect history and you've got some things that are less than, yay, look at me on your resume, don't sweat it. So do most other people. And so what you want to do is make sure that you own it and don't be embarrassed by it. And get clear on what happened and be able to turn that into a win-win for both you and your next employer. And then use that as your warning sign to make sure that you're not going from the frying pan into the fire and really finding an opportunity that is not going to ultimately be a good fit for you. So those are the ways that you can take this really embarrassing or upsetting situation in terms of you've got gaps or whatever have you, and you're able to take that and turn that into something that's actually fun that you can leverage as a strength for yourself. So far we are 5 days in, and you've learned 15 different ways to make job hunting fun. And I'm going to recap really quick. So the first thing is uncertainty is so stressful. So take it out. And you be the one in the driver's seat. You determine whether they're worthy of your time, and then all of a sudden it's a lot less uncertain. Number 2 is that you're out of practice. So unless you're a serial job hunter, chances are good you don't know what you're doing because it's been a while. Don't sweat it. It's like riding a bike, hop back on, learn the new moves, and you're going to be all set. And then the third one is that you don't have time, right? Who has time after a busy life to do job hunting? So go back and look at the video for number 3, refamiliarize yourself with these amazing time-saving techniques that I've sent your way, and get started. And then yesterday we talked about the guilt about not getting in touch with our network and not really keeping those relationships alive. So get over the guilt, take a top-down approach, you'll be good to go. And then today we certainly talked about the less than sexy part of having an imperfect career path, and now you know to own it and use it as a strength. Don't let it slow you down. So we've got 10 more reasons and 30 more ways to make job hunting fun and fast again. So I want you to make sure that you tune in with me every single day so you don't miss a minute. And whether you're actively looking, keeping your options open, or happily employed, you know that you always want to be ready for your next big thing because you never know when it's coming. And right now the job market is hot and stuff is happening all over the place. So make sure if you are not 100% ready that you click the link in this post, check out our programs, and dive in to get ready, because we will help you move further, faster, and accelerate your career to the point where you are going to be so much happier than where you are right now. So tune in tomorrow for number 6, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching.